53 players were named to Canada's preliminary squad for the upcoming Concacaf Nations League semi-final match, which goes on June 15th from Las Vegas, Nevada. The winner will then move on to the Concacaf Nations League final. Canada plays Panama to kick off an opportunity really in this competition for Canada to win their first trophy in 23 years. Wilson Wheeler, that's KJ over there with you. We've all had a look at the 53-player squad. Is there a name, anything that stands out to you, Jordan Wilson?
Jacob Schaffelberg, this is your time, brother. Not because you have the mullet, but I believe in you. I think that with this with this country and the amount of attacking players that they might miss, but also just him being in and around that team, I think that this is his time to break through. If he could play similar to how he's playing with Nashville and just kind of route one, no nonsense, getting behind, take players on, I think he could be a breakout in this side.
Love what's happening in Nashville. I love that the group, when I speak to players down there, they feel loved. They feel that kind of compassionate leadership that is really, I think, helping the players flourish. He's having a great time there. Now Lucas McNaughton as well. And I agree with you. Like, ultimately, there's a lot of question marks right now on this roster. And they start with the best players on the roster. Injuries, form. And so if you can find a player right now who's fit and in good form and playing at a reasonably high level, they have to be in.
It sounds like Alphonso Davies will be coming into Canada camp without training with the first team with his club.
Yep.
Same thing with Tajon Buchanan. I mean, these are two very important players. Having fit players heading into this competition is something that where Canada may not have an absolute luxury. The name Aidan Morris jumped off the page for a lot of people. He's a 21-year-old central midfielder for Columbus Crew. He's a player with Canadian ties through his father. Now, from what I'm told, Canada's been pursuing this player since last year. There was actually designs to potentially bring him to Bahrain ahead of the World Cup. That didn't happen. Sounds like there could have been some passport issues at that time. Since that time, he went on to play with the United States, kind of like a B team against Serbia in January, played in the last window as a substitute against Mexico as well. This is a clear decision. He's given Canada permission to include them on the preliminary roster. There's clearly interest in playing for the Canadian men's national team as well. This decision, from what I'm hearing, is very much a head versus the heart. A couple things, like he's born in the U.S., raised there. If he can be part of that U.S. men's national team setup, then that's the ultimate goal. They're offering a lot of money for players to play for that country right now. And if he can establish himself as a first-team player within the U.S. setup, then so be it. Good on him. But is that a reality, KJ? That's the thing here. And I think who's named to the U.S. men's national team will send a big signal to Aidan Morris about his future with the national team. No Tyler Adams for this Concacaf Nations League tournament. You don't want to be playing in the Gold Cup. That's almost like the secondary competition here. So if he's not named as part of that Concacaf Nations League group, then what does that mean? I think that this is kind of a move to provoke the U.S. You're committing to me, or I'm going to commit to the Canadian men's national team.
This is it now. This is the moment, right? This is the fork in the road for him for international football I think he knew was coming. You mentioned it with Canada. He's formed for MLS, has made sure that he's now on the radar of the United States. Here are the facts. Canada have enormous problems in midfield, right? They have problems when everybody's healthy to get quality players playing in that position who are playing at a high league. And can he get in that squad and be good enough? Yes. Now, they've also got injuries. Sam Piet's hurt. They've got injuries. Azorio's out right now. Lack of players and playing at a top level of form. So should he be in the squad based on form? Yes. If they can get him in, yes. He could play tomorrow in the first 11. That's how good he's playing right now. So I think it's just crucial. If John Herdman and Canada Soccer can get the recruitment right, I think it's a real big move. This is not Canada versus the US. This is not we won one over the United States. But it's just important for Canada to get that midfielder in a crucial position. Morris, I would think, would feel more American. He's obviously going to feel that way. But it was interesting in his interview with ESPN where he said it's tough, but I've got to think about where can I play in the World Cup. The opportunity to play for Canada is a lot better, I think, than he is right now for the United States. That's my feeling on the 53-man roster, particularly as a big story. The other one for me is no CPL players. I do want to mention that. The fact that no Canadian Premier League players were mentioned on an arbitrary number of 53, I think is a pity. United States named 60. Panama named 60. I would have liked to have seen us name 60. And you couldn't tell me that you couldn't find a few players from this league who could have been on there. We have to think big picture in this country about what we're building as a culture here and give up people opportunities. I'm not saying they're going to be flying to Las Vegas, and there's nothing to do with travel and budget, but the opportunity to get on that roster, that I could name you 3 or 4 players right now that should be on there, that are within the 60. And it cannot just be about MLS players, then buying them players, and then suddenly they're on the radar of the national team.
Yeah, 6 players with CPL experience do make that list, but you're right, 53 players were given. Just lastly on Morris, I'm told that there's people around him that would like to see him choose Canada as his international option. You don't want to be one of those stories where you commit to a program, then you simply don't end up playing for that program.
Oh, he'll play.
Tomori's one of them. He will play for Canada, and I'm also told he's in a little bit of a hurry to make that decision. Also of note, Mo Farsi, not part of that list. I'm told that he declined a potential Canada call-up. He's still holding out to see if he can play for Algeria. And Daniel Jebison will still be a name to watch out for, still Canada eligible. He's playing with the England under-20 side at the World Cup, fulfilling his youth commitments. So, look, we're less than a month away from the Gold Cup, and we'll get a more firm look in the coming weeks of what that Canada 23 player side will look like.